A lot of people have forgotten how to build apps the proper way due to Firebase, all right, Superbase, and all whatnot. I'm gonna build app the proper way, realistic, proper way, and cheap and easy. I'm gonna save the day from Firebase chickens. So we're gonna build a mobile app using Flutter, and this mobile app handles authentication, all right. And then there's gonna be a backend built with Laravel. But just in case you don't code Laravel, it doesn't matter. All right, we're not writing much code. We're just demonstrating how it works. And if you're good with any other platform like Go, all right, or Python or Django, whatever, you can tag along because everything will be explained. You can write this Laravel part in your own language. Doesn't matter. Okay, so this is how the app will work. So the people will download the app from Play Store and then they register. Okay, when they open the app, they register. The app will send the registration details to Laravel. Laravel is going to be hosted on a website, all right, on a domain name. So via API, the app will send it on the background and the Laravel app will capture the registration details and save it on the database. Okay, and then of course give a response to confirm to the mobile app that registration has been done. Okay, and as usual it's going to send an email to the user to confirm that the user has done their registration. Now on the mobile app, the user is taken to the next page soon as this response comes in. And the next page is about, so the next page is going to be a login page, and in this login page is going to be super simple. This system is going to be passwordless. Okay, the login page is going to take only the user's email, and via API is going to send the user's email to the Laravel again, and the Laravel app will confirm that the email exists in the database. Okay, if the email exists, the Laravel app will send an OTP, which is just a 6-digit registration OTP, just 6-digit number, to the this email server. We're going to be using SendPulse to send email. This website, what they do is just send email via API. So we're going to connect to it via API and send this 6-digit number. So the user receives it in their email. So now once they receive the number in their email, they copy it and paste on the app screen. And boom, they are logged in. No need for password, no need for Firebase, no need for any configuration setup, nothing. This is the proper way apps are supposed to work. So what happened was that Laravel, Firebase took over this part. So most mobile app developers simply connect to Firebase. It looks okay at first until you start getting users. When your app start doing something realistic, you'll notice that the costs will skyrocket. You can wake up one morning and see $22,000 bill just because you had 1,000 users. So we're gonna save the day with this. So this is a pure superhero move. It should be common sense, but people have forgotten. So let me take you through what I intend to do. So these are the technologies we're gonna be using. It doesn't matter if you use other technologies like Postgres and so on and whatever. It doesn't matter. Just follow me through this video. So in summary, we're gonna start with all the necessary installations. I'm going to assume that you don't know jack about uh, mobile or website development. Okay, the email. We're going to configure the email verification with OTP. We're going to build the Flutter UI screens, basically 4 to 6 screens. Laravel backend, we're going to do that and we're going to integrate SendPulse to Laravel. And we're going to have a fallback registration. Everything is going to be on GitHub. All right, so if you want to pull my source code, you can pull it and continue from there. All right, so this is going to be the folder structure. We're going to build one big folder, call it anything, OTP auth project, and then we create 2 folders inside it. One is going to be the Laravel. We're going to call it Backend Laravel. One's going to be the Flutter. We're going to call it Backend Front-end Flutter. So these are the steps. This is very important. I've already explained it in the previous video, but it's going to be good that you just watch through this. So first of all, when a user wants to log into the Flutter app, they enter their email, click submit, and next page shows them option to enter their 6-digit OTP. So this is what I just explained. You can pause to watch this, but it explains the whole process. So now let's get our hands dirty in writing actual codes. Okay, this is gonna be really fun, trust me, and I'll be as fast as possible. We're gonna be done really, really soon. So right now we're gonna start with the basics. I'm using a MacBook, so which means I'm gonna install Homebrew. Homebrew is basically what helps you to run your command line or command prompt and install every other thing. If you're using Windows, you don't need to do this step. So download or install Homebrew. Download Homebrew on Mac. If you don't, or if you already have Homebrew, it's okay. So you visit this website, you see brew.sh, okay, and you read through this and install it. It's simple. Just run this on your command prompt and it's installed. So, and then with that, we are going to install Composer. Once it's installed, we can open our command prompt, okay, and we install Composer, we install PHP, and then we'll go ahead and install things like Laravel. So you see, brew install PHP. You run this command. That's if you don't have PHP. This is gonna install the latest PHP. Brew install Composer. Composer is what we use to install packages in PHP. Composer global require. So here we install Laravel installer, which I have done all these things. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead then and install Laravel. Next thing you need to install is MySQL. This is if you're on a server, but on my local, I already have MAMP installed. So if you want to do it the raw way, you just brew install MySQL, brew services start MySQL. This starts your MySQL, then make sure it's secure installation. But no, this is how I do mine. So I installed MAMP, download MAMP. I'm on MacBook, so you download this if you're on MacBook. If you're on Windows, you are going to download WAMP, W for Windows, WAMP. And if you're on Linux, you download LAMP, okay, if you don't already have it. So this installs PHP, installs um, MySQL, and gives you an interface. So if you click here, you download, and after download, you go to your applications and start it. So MAMP, as you can see here, you see, so it installs 3 items for you. It installs 3 items. So you just go with MAMP. This is the one that you're gonna go with. Now we have this. You start MAMP. There's MAMP Pro, MAMP Viewer, doesn't matter. Just go with MAMP. Click on it once to start it, and then you're good to go. So when it starts, it's this way. Every other thing has been installed for you. So as you can see, it comes with Apache Nginx, and then my current PHP version is 8.3. If you go here, you will see other PHP versions you've installed. So you can always add new PHP versions by brew install PHP. And once it's done, it will always show up on your MAMP. So where's my MAMP? My MAMP is here. Okay, so here, make sure it's running. As you can see, I can click start. So once it has started, that means my server is running. It comes with Apache, okay? If you're more comfortable with Nginx, you can use it too. All right, the reason I use it is because of this phpMyAdmin. It gives me an interface to see my database. Okay, see all my databases instead of using MySQL in the settings here. So now that everything about PHP is ready, we are going to install Laravel. So first of all, I like to install my platforms, my projects in one folder. So here is pwd, and we're in this book. I'm looking for this. So this is just a custom folder where I put all my projects. So here I can start creating my Laravel project. So we're going to create a MySQL database. I'll click new here, or just click on databases, and it's going to ask me the name. Just call it any name. Any name. I'm going to call this OTP auth database. Okay, click create, and boom, it has created. So we leave it empty for now. Now we're going to go and create the folders that we need. So here, I'm going to say make directory. So we've created this folder. So now we're going to do cd, go into the folder, and we're gonna do make directory backend Laravel. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing, make directory front end Flutter. So if we do ls here, we're gonna see that we have these three folders. Okay, so now you need to install an editor. I believe you already have something like VS Code. So with VS Code now installed, if VS Code is installed in your system and you type code space dot, it's gonna open this root folder. So hit enter and boom, it opens in VS Code. You see, so now we have these two folders. My project is open in VS Code, Visual Studio Code. So now we are ready to start coding. Make sure you're following me. If you've not subscribed at this moment, please subscribe to my channel. Click the subscribe button and share if you want YouTube to always bring you my next videos. Okay. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Instagram as Real Dave Partner. So go to Instagram, search for my name, and message me privately if you want me to work with your team or work with you. I'm always open to working with you as long as you can pay me. So we're going to install Laravel. There are two ways to do that. So first of all, I'm going to cd into backend Laravel. I'm inside the folder now. So I'll run the command to install Laravel. So the command is Laravel new dot, and as long as you have internet service, application already exists. Interesting. Let me find out what happened. A quick solution will be to delete this folder and then run it outside the folder. So let's do cd go back. Oh, first of all, let me try this. Laravel new. Okay, yeah, that works. So we're installing Laravel inside this folder. So what is the name of your project? I'll call it Backend Laravel. Is it gonna run on React? No, we don't want any of the React LiveWire stuff. Just by default, none. And it's installing. As long as you have your internet service, it's gonna install. So while Laravel is installing, we can use the opportunity to install Flutter. Okay, so if you have Brew installed on your MacBook, this is the command to install Flutter. Brew install cask Flutter. All right, but let's say this doesn't work, or maybe you're not using MacBook. You can go to your browser. So in your browser, you can just do install download Flutter on Windows or MacBook, whatever. Okay, so I'm using MacBook. I'll type on Mac, and then you go to this official Flutter website and click install. This took me a number of minutes. So you select your operating system. We're talking about desktop here for Mac OS, and this is it. 8 gig. You have to have minimum of 8 gig in your system, but the recommended is 16, and so on. So at the end of the day, you can even use VS Code to install your Flutter SDK. This took time for me to install in terms of about 20 to 30 minutes. So just follow the prompt and install Flutter on your system. All right. Once you download it and install it, you're good to go. Okay. There is an important VS Code extension, you see, that you can install to help you write better Flutter. I've clicked on it and I'm going to click on install, and it will pop up my VS Code and run the extension. Look at the Flutter. I'll click install. Click I trust this publisher, even though I don't trust them, but I don't have any option. It's like they put something in my head. So while our Laravel is installing, I just want to show you here on my VS Code that when you open this, you see that Laravel is installing. But there's a problem. Our Laravel is installing inside this backend. Laravel is installing inside this backend Laravel. So we're going to eventually move everything here one step higher. Okay, so that we don't have to duplicate our names. So I think a quick solution would be to drag this outside. Are you sure you want to move backend Laravel into OTP? Yeah, and you know it's gonna clash with the already existing one. Let's see what happens. Move and yeah, replace. Unable to move because what happened? It can't replace the folder it's contained in. Okay. Um, First of all, let's be sure that our installation is done. So this is still, it has installed this. Let's just be sure that our installation is done. Oh, it's asking me which SQL, which database. I'll say MySQL. That's the one we're working with. If you're working with any other one, just choose it. Enter. This is Laravel installation still on. Default database updated. Would you like to run the default database migrations? No. It's gonna fail though. Yeah, it failed. Would you like to run npm install? Yes. It failed because we've not connected the database to the application. That's why it failed. I don't need it to run any default anything. We're gonna run it ourselves later. So at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, it's installing. So once the installation is done, then we can fix the folder issue. So my Laravel has installed completely, and it says something interesting here. It says new to Laravel, check out our documentation, build something amazing. Laravel is like the most powerful backend application. You can doubt it, no problem. But once you use it once, you will understand why. And it's powerful because of batteries. What I call batteries are ready-made stuff that you can move in and customize, and it will help you deploy your app quickly and much faster than any other web development framework. Trust me on that, right? And I code a lot of different frameworks. But let's go ahead then. Remember that if I do ls here, you'll see that there's another backend Laravel. So there are two backend Laravel. The command we used to create Laravel created another folder called backend Laravel, then install the Laravel into it. To save the day, we can do something. For instance, we rename this rename to backend Laravel old, and then I simply drag and drop. So I'll drag this backend Laravel outside in the empty space and move. It worked this time. Okay, so now this one is empty. I'm going to delete it. So we're gonna do a delete. Yeah, I could have done it from the command line, but I just wanted you to understand what I was doing. So now we're done with Laravel, complete Laravel installation. We're gonna come back so that we can sync it to, we'll connect it to the PHP MyAdmin MySQL database. All right, but we're gonna be back. Before then, let's install Flutter. All right, we're gonna install Flutter into this folder. Okay, and we might end up deleting this folder here and doing the same kind of thing, but let's go ahead. So for a start, I'm gonna delete this folder to avoid the kind of issue we faced where it was installed inside. So we deleted it. Now we're gonna run a command. All right, so first of all, to be sure that Flutter installed properly, you type flutter doctor. Flutter not found. So I'll do, that means Flutter is not installed on this system. So I'm gonna start. Sorry guys, I forgot that I'm using a different system where I never installed Flutter. So I'm just gonna install Flutter by myself here. So it's good that you see it. So generally it doesn't really matter where you run this command in your system. So brew install cask Flutter. Okay, hit enter. And it's gonna take a while. But while it's installing, we can come and configure, come to our Laravel, open the backend Laravel app, go to .env. This file, this is the file where you connect your Laravel to your MySQL. So now if you used MAMP, then your default password is root if you're running with MAMP. But if not, you have to get your default password for your MySQL installation. All right. So you also have to watch out for the port number. Okay, sometimes the port number is different. Here's what I mean by that. So here we have in MAMP. Where's my MAMP? My MAMP is here, and I think if you go to preferences and ports, you're gonna see that MySQL is running on port 889. All right. So you have to, the port here has to be the one that your MySQL is running on. So I'll click this. I've pasted it, you see? Save. Okay, root. Now the database name is not Backend Laravel. I think we called it auth something. So let's go check. So here, if you click, we see that we call it OTP auth. Okay, so that's what we are going to call it here. OTP underscore auth. Okay. And every other thing, this is our home, all right, is running on the same server as the MySQL, and everything is fine except here. So here now we need to connect this to our SendPulse. Remember, SendPulse is the website that will send our emails for us. So we're gonna update it so that it's our app will connect or sync with SendPulse. For now, it should be like this. So I'm going to command question mark, control question mark. Command question mark will comment out this, which is control question mark on your Windows. So I'll paste these other connection details. So it's set to SMTP pulse mail port 857. Now it needs your SendPulse login username and password, and it needs your from email address. So let's say our website is davepartner.com. So this is gonna be something like support@davepartner.com. Remember that this domain must have been approved inside your SendPulse. We're gonna get to that, right? Mail from which so when the people receive the emails, what name are they gonna see? So this is trying to use the name you put here. So if you change this to, what should I call this now? We can call this Backend Laravel. Backend Laravel. Or you can do it this way. Backend Laravel. Okay. So every other thing is here. App debug is true. When you host this application on your server, you need to change app debug to false so that when your users run into a bug, they're not going to see the error everywhere. You understand? They're going to see a very nice message. Okay. And we're still working on local. When it's up in live, you can put it to production. Laravel behaves differently in local and production. Okay. So this sets the language. And what else? There is really nothing more interesting here. And we'll eventually change this because I think it will be better and easier if we used a package. You understand? If we used a SMTP package. So all right. So make sure you run your installations of Flutter. And my biggest challenge was the internet. If your internet is not strong and powerful, you will not be able to fully download Flutter. And I was able to achieve mine at night when everybody was sleeping. I had good internet, then I downloaded it. Okay. So after downloading, you need to close your command prompt or command prompt and then restart it. And then you type something like Flutter Doctor. If you run into any errors, just copy the error, paste on Google, and sort it out yourself. Okay. But then typing Flutter Doctor will confirm to you that you have actually properly installed Flutter. As you can see, as it's giving me this, it means I've installed Flutter. Now, if you look at my Flutter, you see that there are so many positive check marks, but then there is a negative one, which is talking about Android Studio toolchain. It's saying it's not installed, but if you look at here, it's giving me the website to install it. So if we go to the internet and type developer.android.com/studio, we will see where we can download Android Studio. Or if you just go to Google and type download Android Studio, it's going to bring you here. At this point in time, this download button is tricky. If you click on it, it throws you into a wrong page and it never downloads. For instance, if I click on it now and I accept this agreement and select my Apple chip, the next page is going to be one error. So the right way to do that, if you are seeing this kind of design, if you're watching this when they have not changed this design, is to scroll down. If you scroll down enough, you will see the downloads, you see? And in my own case, this is the one I'm using, Apple Silicon chip, Apple chip, MacBook with Apple chip. If it's with Intel chip, then it's this. Then if you have Windows 64, 32 bits, and so on, Linux and Chrome OS. Okay, so that's it. After that, don't forget that there is a command line tool. You just download a little, you scroll down a little and download the command line tool for you. In my own case, it is this. Okay, after the download, it should show up here. No, it doesn't show up, so I can re-download it. 140 MB. Okay, download. It's downloading and it's 137 MB. So after you've downloaded, you install. In my own case, I've downloaded. I'll just click this Android Studio to install. Drag it to your applications folder if you are on Mac. If you're on Windows, you don't need to do anything after installation. Maybe you need to restart your system, something like that. So now it's in the applications folder. I need to have it running. So if I do, go to my app and run Android Studio. Android Studio, you see. It may prompt me to do some installations and settings. Don't send user statistics to Google. Don't say I don't give a damn about Google. So once it's done, then if you run Flutter Doctor, then it would have run properly. Also, it is requesting you look at this last two lines here saying, please use Flutter SDK to update the location if Android SDK has been installed. So this is my Android SDK starting. Next and standard. Next and next and accept. Da, 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 da. Why is it hooking here? So accept and finish. So usually this would take another few minutes to hours. Who knows how long? Let it download. So once it's done, we continue. All right. So let's open this folder here. Okay. So now we're gonna run a command to set up our Laravel. Remember here, Laravel already has a key. If your Laravel doesn't have a key, you will have to run the PHP artisan key generate. So if you click here under this, just drag this up a little, and on terminal, you will have to run this PHP artisan key generate if this doesn't happen. So let us continue here. The next step will be to add uh, this. This will be two keys. I think I'll put it at the bottom here for send pulse. So we're going to create a send pulse account on sendpulse.com and then add these two details. That means we wouldn't need all this again, not needed. So next step is to install the sendpulse package. So the sendpulse package, make sure before we install the sendpulse package, make sure you are inside the Laravel backend. We are currently on the main folder. So now we go inside the Laravel package. We'll do cd backend Laravel. Even the PHP artisan key generates. Oops. Make sure you are inside the Laravel, otherwise it's not gonna work. Backend, enter. Okay, clear. So now this is what I want to run. So let's run composer install to install the sendpulse package. There are many packages for sendpulse on Laravel, but this is the one you're gonna type and run. It's available on GitHub if you want to read more about it. So we're just gonna try it. If it doesn't work, we'll try the one that works. Could not find a matching version of this. Check the package spelling. So I found a better one that actually works. So this is what you're gonna run. Composer require sendpulse REST API. So this particular package works seamlessly. So that's what we're gonna use. As long as you have internet, it will install. So after successful installation, we're gonna install the users table. So clear. But first of all, we want to check in databases, migrations, whether there's a user migration somewhere. We've not run the first migration, and there is. So if I click here, you'll see this, that there is a user table migration. So maybe we should just update it. Since we've not run the first migration, I suggest um, we modify this. So I'm first of all going to make this nullable so that the only required something here should be email. And then I'm going to paste some extra here. So, and that's going to be this way. So what I pasted is the phone number, which is nullable, and it's a string, not a number. The OTP code, all right, to store OTP temporarily. And this is a timestamp to state when the OTP will expire, so that if we send you OTP, you won't wait a year before you start using it. We'll give you a period, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. And then there is a timestamp, so I'm going to remove the timestamp and just fix the empty spaces. In case you've never coded Laravel, this is where, once we run the next command, this is where Laravel would take the information about the table to create and go to our database and create the table. So we won't have to create the table manually. That's powerful about Laravel. So if you wanted more tables to create, you would have to run migrations to create more tables. Just Google migrations on Laravel. You'll create more tables. So here, we're just going to run the migrations finally so that it will create in the DB. So PHP artisan migrate, enter. If there's no errors, it's going to run peacefully. But in this case, we had errors. So it says connection refused. Select is this information. If the connection is refused, it means that our database has issues. So if we go to .env, inside .env, we'll just cross-check that we enter the right database details. We have this. So I'm just going to cross-check. Make sure that my MAMP is running. It's not. Is MAMP running? Start. Okay. So once this has started, yes, cool. It has started now. And if I go to tools, click on PHP My Admin, this is what shows us the database. So this is the database we want to view. And as you can see, it's still empty. So if we get back to our code and rerun, so I'll do clear here. If we rerun, up arrow key on my keyboard, up arrow, and then hit enter. So the migration ran successfully. That means if we come back to our database here, we're going to see that it has created a bunch of tables for us. But most importantly, the users table, if we click on structure, we will see that it added all the fields we wanted exactly the way we wanted it. So this is perfect so far. Since we are still on the ENV page, it's best we go to the bottom again, make sure that we enter the right sendPulse credentials for the package we're using. So I've pasted this. So make sure you write it down. We're still going to go to sendpulse.com and get these actual details when we get to configuring the emails. But everything here is okay. Now we need to create a service. So a service is where we're gonna put the code, write the code that will handle our emails. So we'll go to HTTP app HTTP controllers. So we're gonna create a new folder. So if you open app, you'll see that there are 3 folders already. So we're gonna right click on app folder and click new folder and services. And remember it's in plural and it starts with a capital letter. All right. Caps lock or casing is very important in Laravel. So now we're gonna create a new file inside service and call it OTP service.php. Okay, now inside this OTP service.php, we are going to write some code. In order to save your time, I'm just going to paste. Control V, paste. So what I want you to do is to pause your video and write down, or you go to my GitHub and get it. All right. So I think at this point I have to sync with GitHub, but you get what I'm saying here. Just write down these things and write down this. This is where it ends. I'm going to explain it shortly so you understand. So here, starting from here, we're importing the necessary dependencies. Okay, carbon is for date time. Remember that OTP has to be timed. All right, not necessarily, but that's just how we want to write the code. And this is file storage and the API client from the package, the sendPulse package we imported. And then we are dealing with the users model. That is the users table. So we imported the users model. The model is here. See, users. So that's where we wrote the code. The code to upload the user information, update the OTP, delete, and so on is inside the model. So we're importing it. So here in the construct, we are fetching from the env file the sendPulse credentials we have here. This, that's what we're fetching from. So OTP generate. So this particular function simply generates an OTP. Remember, it's 6 characters. So every time we call this function in any part of the code, it will give us 6 numbers, random numbers. All right. Now this is the function that actually sends the email. So let's see what it does. It sets the data, okay, in an array, HTML. This is the title, and this is the text. So emails are in twos, right? Some email clients will accept HTML email. Some will accept text. So that's why we have two different titles depending on the one that is receiving it. Then we have subject, we have from, and the person that is receiving it. So this is the body of the email. In case you don't know, this is the body of the email as HTML as text. So which means you can have a very nice HTML design and just paste it in between these two quotes. Okay, now remember that this function accepts the email and the OTP, right? Okay, if we want this function, if we want to use this function to send any other email in our application, we just need to add more parameters. So instead of typing this body out, we just add it as a parameter so that whenever we're calling this function anywhere, we just pass the content of the body. So we can do something like HTML, and then here we'll do HTML. So every time we are calling, if we want to send email to anybody in any part of our code, we just call this function and we pass on the content of the email. We also do the same thing with the title. We pass on the content and boom, email is sent. But for now, we're going to restrict this code to what we're using. So it says from name, my app. Remember that we can fetch from name from here. We can add from name here. So it's better we call it send pulse from name. The reason is so I can say something like Dave. You know, the reason is so that we don't have to write it every time we need it. So we can do env send pulse. How did we do it here? Yeah, send pulse from name. All right, so everything is done here on the basics. Now we go ahead. So we're going to write another function, auth controller, inside controllers. This controller will handle three things. To request OTP. Okay, it will send OTP and verify OTP. OTP. Okay, so these three. And the way we're going to do it is to come to command line. And in Laravel, instead of creating files manually, you can also do it from the command prompt. So I'm going to do clear. We'll say PHP artisan. That's the command for make controller auth controller, something like this, right? So that's the command for creating controllers. Hit enter, and it has created. So it's telling me to go here, app http controllers, auth controller.php, app http controllers auth controller.php. Okay, so if we open it, it's still empty. So now I'm gonna paste the content in order not to waste your time. So you can, I'll pause my screen and you copy. So I'll delete everything here and then I'll paste the code. So you can copy down as usual. We imported everything we need, especially Carbon to track time. All right, and we imported the OTP service. Remember here, OTP service, where we have OTP service, this file. See this file? We imported it. Okay. And then now we're going to use it as OTP, this OTP service. Okay. When we do this OTP service, we can access the functions inside it. So here we are requesting OTP in this function. That's request OTP. So here's what it says. User. So we're fetching the user. All right, using the email we got from the request. So we are going to receive a user email. We'll fetch the user. So if the user doesn't exist, we'll respond to the mobile app via API that the user is not found. Okay. But if he exists, then we'll go ahead with we generate OTP. Remember, we have generate OTP function. Once we've generated it, we will save the user on the OTP field in the users table. We'll save the generated OTP there. We also generate time. So here we're saying that the OTP will last 5 minutes, but because this is a public app that people may use later, I'm just gonna put 50 minutes or 90 minutes. This is a public app, right? But if it was a private app, I would reduce the time. So now we update the users table, all right? Because we already queried the users table from here. So we update it, saving the OTP inside. Now, now we send the email, okay? Passing the user's email and the OTP number we generated. We use the function here that says send to email. That's user email and OTP. So this function will process and send the email. So the user will receive the OTP in the email, and that is done. Now we can verify OTP after the mobile app, after the user has copied the email from their, copy the OTP number from their email and entered in the mobile app. The mobile app will send us the OTP again via API and we will verify it. So this is where we're verifying it. Okay. So we receive it as a request. We verify that the email that came with it exists. Then we check the email field whether the OTP matches. Okay. The OTP that the mobile app sent us, is it the same with the one that the email that the user has in their table? If it is, and we verify that the time hasn't expired yet. Okay. It's not more than 3 hours yet. And we respond with verified. So the mobile app can now proceed the user to the dashboard. Okay. But if not, we'll throw an error. Okay, so that's it. Now, if a user is registering from the mobile app, all we expect is them to send us their email and their phone number, and the email must be unique. Once they send it, we will register the user and we will respond with status registered. If not, this function will automatically send a message saying now it's not unique or phone number must be sent. Okay, so everything here works perfectly fine. So we proceed. So now we create the endpoints for anybody to be able to call, which is the mobile app in this case. So to create endpoints in Laravel, you go to routes folder. You go to, we can do it in web.php, but just to be neat, we have to create another file inside routes. We are going to call it api.php so that we can know all the requests coming via API. So I'm going to paste this. So, but before I paste it, we're going to do PHP. Make sure it's a PHP file. In fact, if I look here now, I have to copy the route facade here, paste it here. Cool. So now So depending on the one you want, you can just call register and it will take you here. So let's go to Flutter. We're actually done with Laravel. Now we're going to go with Flutter. Okay. So here, let's run a code that will create a Flutter app. First of all, you want to confirm that your Flutter is working. So you run Flutter Doctor first. So I'm going to clear this and say Flutter Doctor. And you wait a few seconds. And if your Flutter is properly installed, everything will work well. In my own case, there are a couple of issues with my Android setup in Flutter. I'll handle it later, but generally, everything is working well. Okay, now let's start with creating a Flutter app. So it's always good to read the actual errors. If you look at here, it says command line tools component is missing and it's telling me what to run. Okay, install this. Also, it's telling me what to run here, Flutter Doctor Android licenses and so on. All right, so I'll run it at a different time. For now, it's not that important to me. It's just if I want to, it's only good if I want to deploy to Android. So here, we can now start, I'll do clear, right? We can now start creating a Flutter app. Okay, so Flutter create. Oh, make sure you're not inside your Laravel backend, which is here. So I'll do CD to be outside the Laravel backend. I will do Flutter create front end Flutter or whatever you want to call your own folder. Hit enter, and it has started to create. You see, and so it's telling me what to do. In order to run your application, I should cd into front end Flutter and type Flutter run. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see what it did here. Look at all the files it created for me. So we'll go ahead. So we're going to add HTTP dependency in Flutter. That's the very next step. So we'll go to pubspec.yml. Remember that there's pubspec.log. No, this is the one you're looking for, the one with .yml. And we're just going to add something. Maybe scroll to the bottom. Who cares? Who cares? And then add dependencies. So first of all, we'll check whether there's already a dependency. There is. So we're just going to take dependency says SDK Flutter. Be careful, be mindful of the spaces. The spaces are very important. It's a YAML file. Very, very important. So dependencies, let's look for it. Dependencies Flutter SDK. Okay, so we just need to add HTTP dependency. Like this. Yeah, perfect. Be mindful of the spaces we save. So now Flutter works with HTTP. So we're going to now create a services, right? For managing or calling the Laravel, all right? General service. So we'll go to lib. We need to create like a folder. We're gonna call services. Okay. Then inside the folder, we're gonna say API services.dart. This is Flutter territory now, so we use .dart. Would you like to recommend this for that? Yes. Recommended settings were written to that section. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Uh, so the thing is that when you're coding that for the first time, this is a new laptop for me. When you're coding that for the first time, it does a lot of settings so that it can correctly type your code and color it, like syntax highlighting. So I'll paste this. So as usual, we're gonna explain it step by step. Okay. First I want to make this singular. I want to make it singular. Rename. Rename API service.dat. Okay. So there's a little problem here because it's not able to find the package yet, and we're gonna fix that shortly. All right, so going forward, we need to fix something here. Because of this error, this package is not seen. That's because we've not run a command. But if we go to pop spec, I think we should use the latest version. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this here. Okay, use the latest version. Be mindful of the spaces. Now Flutter pop get has been run automatically for me. So you see the error is gone just because we use the latest version. Now you might be watching this video 2 years, 5 years from when I made the video. Just make sure you're using the latest version in case you see an error at this stage. So I'm just gonna go skim through this. Then we go back to the Laravel and use something like Postman to test the API because I noticed many of you have not used Laravel before. So what we're doing here is really simple in API services. We imported the dependencies we need. Okay. Now we set the base all for the Laravel. We can come back and change it. Okay. So then here we are sending the email as a post request to /login. So localhost colon 8000 /API /login. We send the email of the user. Okay. And then we wait for the response. Depending on the response, we decide what to output. Okay. Whether it's saved correctly or not. So this is basically login. So the Laravel will receive this email. And if the user exists, it will send an email with the OTP, all right, and then send the request back here. So here is verify the entered OTP. So it does the same thing. It sends the user enters an OTP on the mobile phone, the OTP they copy from their email. This app sends the user's email and the OTP the user enters via API to this address. Okay, where is this coming from and where is this coming from? If you go to our Laravel, you go to our API routes, go to API, you'll see that we have login, verify, and register. That's where it's coming from. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. So we send it to, and we wait for a response. And for the last function here is register. The user registers and enters their email and phone number, and we send it via API to /register. All right, and then we wait for response, and the type is post. Everything is post. It's http.post, http.post. So that's basically what it does here. We can keep coding the app, or we can just go and check and verify in the mobile app that it's working. Or we can use a postman to test the APIs first. All right, so what we're going to do next is simple. We are going to download Postman so we can use it to test the Laravel API. Once it's good, we continue with our Flutter app development. So go to your Google, type download Postman, and I will download the one with that matches my system. So, and it takes a few seconds. I think there's also Postman for web. So after a few minutes, it will download. There's one for web. You can sign in for free and stuff. So it's done downloading. So I'll double click and install. Make sure you drag it to your applications folder, and boom. So that works now. What we're gonna do is to start it. So I'll go to my applications folder and search for Postman. Postman. Click to start. It's fairly simple. Now, this is an app that Postman is an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm very sure. Okay. Now you gotta sign in. So I'm going to sign in, and all right. So I've done that. I'll click on Open Postman. I signed in with Google, which is much easier for me, and we're logged in now. Okay, so we have to start our Laravel app. in order to be able to access it. So to do that, I will simply go here, and in the code, we want to, in the code, first of all, we'll go to terminal. Okay, clear. So we want to cd into the Laravel app, which we call Backend Laravel. So cd backend underscore Laravel. Okay, now we are going to run PHP artisan serve. That is how to start your Laravel server. And as you can see, our server is running at this, which matches what we predicted it should run at. So it's running at 127.0.0.1, which is the same as localhost colon 8000. Okay, so it's running perfectly fine. Um, to confirm, we can actually go to our browser. On our browser, we can try to access that localhost colon 8000, 800, enter. And boom, this is our Laravel app. Very nice. Why is it saying deploy now? Let me see. Oh no, that's a way to host Laravel. That's a Laravel hosting. So everything works now well now. Okay. So we can now access it via Postman. So on Postman, we can create new. It's been long I used this. Okay. So we can create using this code. So here, HTTP colon 8000, and we're gonna say post. So let's say we want to register a new user. So register. Register demands an email. Oops. Email and a phone number. You know how I know? Because in our code here in Laravel, inside Laravel, here we have a register endpoint, okay? And it's inside auth controller, the register function. So if we go to app, HTTP, auth controller, and we go to the register function, now we can see that it requires email and phone number. The email is required, and it must be an email. It must be unique per user, and the phone number is required. And both of them will create, and we expect a status of registered. Okay, so now let's try. The email will be Dave at John Cena. Sorry if the whole thing is tiny. I've not thought about how to increase the font size, but let's just get through with this. Maybe somewhere here, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. Oh yeah, makes sense. Zoom in again, and one more time. Mm-hmm. So, makes perfect sense. johncena.com, it must be a valid email. Phone number could be 0803, whatever. That's the phone number. And everything is fine here. So now, let's send and see. Send. Ah, not found. There's an error somewhere. I think I zoomed in too much. Yeah, there is an error somewhere. So let's try and fix the problem by putting the required API keys for send pulse. If you come here in our Laravel and you go to .env, you will see that we reserved a space for user ID and secret of your send pulse. So you visit sendpulse.com, sendpulse.com, and then you log in. I've already logged in. That's why I can see my account here. Once you're logged in, I don't want to show the details of my account. You want to click here and click on account settings. It brings you to this page. Now you're on this page. You want to click on API and you see the ID and the secret. Okay. So you copy them and then you paste it in your env file. You paste the ID here and the secret here. And then you can put any domain name of your choice for now. and then you're ready to go. That will clear the error we were seeing on Postman here. So I'm gonna do that. I just don't want you to show you my keys, but I'll pause this video, do that, and then we'll come back. So I've done that. Don't worry if you're still getting bugs. I'll still help you fix it. Just follow me. So I'm going to enter in the params. I'm gonna type Dave John. Just any name. These emails don't need to exist. All right. And then you put a phone number. Make sure it's unique. And we click send just to be sure. It says registered, which means if we go to our database, we're gonna see that it's actually registered. Let's go. So if we go to this URL for our database, remember you can always access it from your MAMP or LAMP. Where is my MAMP? So from your MAMP or LAMP, you can always access your PHP-MyAdmin. If you click on web start, and you click on tools, you see PHP-MyAdmin. So it shows you that inside auth on users table, and this didn't create. So but it says registered. Okay, well I know why, because there's a code I wrote while I was debugging the case. So that code is here. I have to remove it. So yours should still be this way. Like I said, if you're still getting errors, don't worry. I'm gonna address that shortly. So just keep on with me. So this now should work if I come here. All right, let's just click this and it throws an error. All right, so we're going to do a couple fixes before we test again. So if you go to your user.php, we need to add more fields that we're using. So in user.php, we add the phone field, the OTP field, and OTP expires at. So this ensures that when we submit, these ones can get to the database. Now we also need to go to app service provider and mention our route file. So add this line to your app service provider. And where is it located? It's located in your Backend Laravel app. And inside your app, the providers, you will see it there. So inside the boot method of this file, you add this. After adding this, you need to also add this line that says use route. Okay, we're simply adding this file we created. All right, so let's open this file. If you open this file, you will see that it's still the way it is. Now, if we go back to our auth controller, remember our auth controller is located in app, HTTP, controllers, auth controller. If you come to this bottom here, you will see that to register a user, we are sending email and phone number. We are saving it to the database, but there's a problem. There are more fields in this users table that are compulsory. Example, the password field is compulsory. So we know it's compulsory because if we look at the migrations file here, if we look at the migrations files, the users table, you see, migrations, see that password field is compulsory. It is not marked as nullable. So every time we try to save a password, it's going to throw errors. And another way to confirm it is from your database. So let's check the database. So from this database, if we go to browse, or not browse, but structure, under users, structure, you see that the password, it says null, no. So the password is not nullable. So every time you send an API request, it's going to throw an error that looks like this error we're seeing. So we're going to fix it. Okay, see, internal server error. Every time you click send, it's going to throw internal server error. Okay, so the fix is simple. We're going to generate a random password for now. Don't worry. Okay, just to get it to work. We're going to say that password field is rand. So this is a function in PHP. You enter the minimum integer and the maximum. So I'm gonna say minimum 10,000 or 1,000. 10,000 maximum another 100,000. So it's just gonna generate a number between these two, and that's it. Save. So for now, we're gonna try again. Send, and boom, it has worked. So now let's go to the database, and under auth database users, if we click on browse, you see a user has been created. And what you notice is that it hashed the password. Even though we generated a number, it is fully hashed. That's interesting. Okay. Now, some things are missing. For instance, the OTP field is missing. OTP expired field is missing. Now, these are things we should do here too. Okay, we should have an OTP field here. We can say OTP. Remember, we already have a function for generating OTP. So, and that function is this. That function is this. So one thing we can do is we can call this function request OTP and pass in user email. Okay, so in the register function, we can actually do this so that once somebody is registered, that in the mobile app, once you fill the registration form, the next screen should ask you for OTP for login instead of asking you to enter your email all over again and login. So registration, the next step should be login. So here we can actually pass this field. Okay, so we can call that function and say this instead of entering OTP here. So we're going to pass a request, and that should be this request, right? And this way. So let's try and register a new user to see. Okay. So remember that this field, what it does, this function, what it does is it generates the OTP and it captures the time and then it saves to the user's table. So I'm going to put here 3 hours. Okay. 90 minutes is 3 hours. Okay. And then it sends an email and then it responds with OTP sent. Okay. So this is what we're going to do here. One thing we can do is to attach the response. We can do this. So registered and OTP sent. Please check your email. Okay, whatever. So send OTP. Let's try and register a new user and see what happens. So I'm just gonna modify the email a little just by putting 4. And remember the phone number is the same. We're gonna come back to that and click send. And then we have an error. So I'm gonna find where the error is now. All right. The cause of the problem, as you can see here, if I create a new user, remember that emails are unique according to our database settings here. Emails are unique. Okay, they must not be null and they are unique, right? So now they must be unique. So what happens is if we create a new email, let me just add a number to make this email unique. And I click send. Everything works perfectly. But then if you come to our DB, let's just confirm that it's saved. You see that it just saved, right? If I add another number here and create it, okay, if I leave it this way and try to create this user one more time, it will throw an error. Look, it gave me just nonsense gibberish error, gibberish. That doesn't mean anything to the naked eye. All right, only an experienced developer can go through this and figure out what's going on. So what we're going to do is to make it return JSON, a proper error. So if we go to the code here, instead of just doing validation during registration, all right, I'm just going to delete this section that does a validation and paste this code. This is the section I deleted. It's back, but I put it in a try catch block. So I put a try, the section, and then catch. All right. So if there's any error in either of this, it's going to catch it here. Okay. And return it. So the mobile app will receive an error message. Otherwise, everything goes well. The email is sent here and it all goes smoothly. Okay, so it's time for us to check now. Make sure it's saved. It's time for us to check. So now remember, it's still an existing user. We try to create it one more time, send, and boom, it gives you this. A properly structured error, okay? Unprocessed content, very, very structured. So now that we're sure it's working, let's now test the login field. Okay, the login. If we're going to log in a user, we just send an email and an OTP is generated. Remember that the user must be existing. So we just enter an email that already exists for a login and then click send. And let's see how that goes. So it says email exists, OTP sent. So it is expected that an email will be sent and then the OTP generated. So let's go and check if an OTP was generated for this user. So if we come here, this is the user. I'll click browse one more time. And then we'll look for the OTP field. You see, OTP has been generated and sent via email. Okay, you can't see it, but I can see it because an email was sent to me. All right, so basically that's just the summary of what we want to do here. One more thing we can try is to send an email that doesn't exist. So let me modify this email to something like this. It doesn't exist. Send. It says not found. Okay, so beautiful. All right, so we're sure that our Laravel is working exactly as expected. So this particular Laravel app, you can just host it on your server. Um, so this is what it looks like: 8,000 localhost 8,000, 8,000. This is what it looks like. Simple Laravel app. You can add your login, logout, and build it out. But in the background, it has an API that manages the authentication for the mobile app. So now we're going to go ahead into the mobile app and start building it out, knowing that our API endpoints work for the Laravel. So this concludes our session for the Laravel. See you in the mobile app session. So just going to minimize this and we'll get back to the Flutter section, and then we'll go ahead. So make sure your Laravel is closed. So inside here, inside lib, we're just gonna create a file we're gonna call main.dart. So this is gonna be a file of folder main already exists in this location. Oh really? Why can't I say it? Okay, this is it. So this is the main entry point of the application, and it comes by default with this. All right, a lot of explanation and comments and so on, but generally, I'm just gonna delete everything and use a smaller piece of code. So delete everything, smaller piece of code that does exactly what we want. And of course, there's a lot of errors because we've not created these pages. But what this main.dat actually does primarily is here defines the routes. Okay, once somebody opens the app, what's the first thing they see? A login page. And there is also /OTP will take you to OTP page, and register will take you to register page. And that's on period. All right. So now we import the respective pages which don't exist yet. And that's just it. What's the title of the page? OTP auth app. That's the title of the app. And which theme is it using? This is just basic 101. All right. So we're keeping everything simple. Our next step. So let's start with creating the login page.dat. It says that it has to be inside this folder and pages. Inside the folder called pages, and then we create login underscore page.dat. Okay, login underscore page.dart, and we hit enter. Remember that if there is on this main.dat, if there is something you can get it from my GitHub for this project. Just pull the project. So here, login page dot. You can pause the page and write out the code if you want. Let me cancel this. Write out the code. You can pause the page and write out the code. All right, now you have it. Um, I just pasted the contents. What the page does is basically here. So it simply calls the Laravel API and passes an email. All right. So the email is passed now and it's expecting a response. If the Laravel responds with OTP underscore sent, then it will show this message to the user and say, hey, the OTP has been sent. Okay. And then it redirects to the OTP page where the user is going to enter the OTP. Otherwise, if the Laravel app responds with not found, it will redirect the user to the register page. And an improvement on this would be to also add this message here on the register page. Okay, add message saying that account does not exist, something like that. Please register. Email not found. Please register, something like that. So that's basically what this page does. So let's go on to the next. If you click on main.dart, you will see that there's an OTP page. Okay, so on the same pages. So let's create an OTP page. OTP underscore page. Oops. OTP underscore page dot dart. Hit enter and then we'll paste the content of the code. This is just the OTP page and you can pause to write it down. Okay, this is the OTP page and you can pause and you can pause. All right, so let's explain what it does. This is the page where the user will enter their OTP. Don't worry, we're going to see a visual representation of it in the end, but I'm just going to explain what happens here. So this page sends email and OTP to the Laravel backend, and it awaits a response. So when the response comes, if the response is the word verified, then it says login successful. All right, it will show this message. Of course, you can update it to navigating to the dashboard, redirecting to the dashboard. All right, instead of just showing only message, it will show message, then it will redirect. In case you don't know how to redirect, we already saw it here. We saw it here. See, this line is how to redirect. Just make sure that in your main.dat, you define dashboard, right? So, but then if there's any different response, it's going to show you an error. And that's essentially what it does. The rest is just displaying the field. This displays the boxes that you need to see, and then the text on top of the box, nothing else. So everything here is good. So finally, we do the register page.dat. So on pages, first of all, let's see what we call it on main. We call it register underscore page. So we'll come to pages here, and we create register underscore page.dat. Hit enter, and now it's here. We paste the code. So first of all, at the bottom of, let me start from here, you can screenshot and write it out, or you pull from my Git repo, you can screenshot, write it out, or you pull from Git, screenshot and write out. Okay, so here is basically the form, the registration form. All right, contains the email and the phone number, and that's all you need to register, no password. Okay, and then here is where we'll we'll send we'll send this as an API request to the Laravel app, and then we await a response. If the response is registered, and then we'll display this message, and then we navigate to the logged in page, okay, or login page. So else we all right, there we go. Now it's time to see if any of our code works or all of our code. Make sure that your code is not showing red, well, except here, right? In the test area. Okay. So, but let's see, we open a terminal. We're already running our Laravel. So we're going to open another terminal from here. I'm just going to click the plus sign and it opens another terminal. I want to be inside the Flutter folder. I'll do cd front end Flutter. So now I'm going to do Flutter run. Let's see whether it's going to run peacefully or throw some errors. So this could take some time and I'll get back to you. No wireless devices were found because I didn't connect my phone. No, I want it to run with iOS. So I'm going to start my iOS. So if you read here, it says macOS and this is the desktop, and then it says please choose Q to quit. So I choose Q. Oh, it's hanging. Maybe it's coming up with something. Let's wait a little more. I'll be back. All right, so I've typed the queue and quit. So now I want to start my iOS simulator since it's installed. All right, hit enter and let's see how it goes. Good. See, it's pulling up. So when it opens, we're now gonna run Flutter run. Okay, it has opened. If you install Flutter, this will come with it. All right. So now we're gonna put Flutter run. Right. I'll just and let's see. This is the iOS simulator. Let's see how it goes. You see, it's showing here, and it has pulled up our app, a very basic app. But let's see what we're gonna do. We're gonna put an email that already exists. So to do that, I'll go to my simulator and pick this email that we're sure. Let me just confirm. Not found. Um, I think this one already exists. Let me remove the 8. Not found. Really? Okay, let me just go to my DB. So this is my database. I'm going to choose this email that already exists, copy it. I've copied it, copy. And then we are going to come to our Flutter app and enter, paste, allow paste, and it's pasted. So we're going to request OTP. So first off, I want to have this open. Click request OTP. As you can see, it's asking me to register because this email doesn't exist. So good thing is it's working. So but it's not supposed to ask me to register. We can debug the code, all right? But I know by now you already got the idea. Okay. Let's even try and register. We know this email exists and it's wrong to bring us here, but let's say register. Registration failed, of course, because it already exists. So going in here, we can make our code better, and I'll leave that largely to you to find out where in the code, in the login page, somewhere here, there's an error that makes it to redirect to registration page instead of to the OTP page for an already existing user. Also, the OTP message, you can make it more clearer. This redirection here, you can make it more clearer too. Okay, and make it much more clearer, like more detailed. And a couple of things also, you can add main.dat, dashboard.dat. So after login, it can go to dashboard. You can have something like this, dashboard, and it goes to dashboard page, something like this. Then you create a dashboard underscore page and so on. So I believe by now you kind of have a rough idea of how everything goes. What you should do is go to my GitHub and download it. So let's put this whole thing on GitHub. So I'm gonna call this Go, not Go now, but Flutter Laravel Authentication. Okay. Remember, this is not gonna work. This is not going to work if you don't put your send pulse details in the space provided in .env. That's the description. It's gonna be public and no readme file, and we're create repository. So now it's good. We're going to push an existing create new repository. So first of all, we'll add a README, and I'm just gonna copy all this and run it once. Let's see. I know the last one will fail though. So come here to the command prompt. Make sure you are outside. So I better use this one. So clear cd. So I make sure I'm outside both. So if I do ls now, you see that the two folders are there. Okay, so clear. Now I'm gonna run this, paste, and it does everything. And did it push? I guess not. So let's see what's happening. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, let's see. Everything is up to date. Okay, so we're good. You can always go to GitHub and get it. So if I come here now and refresh this page, oh good. So now we'll simply add uh where is it? Git add, git commit, new commit, or whatever, first commit, git push. See you in the next video or in the comment section. If you want to inbox me, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is at real Dave Partner on Instagram. All right, and or using any of the links below. Join my Telegram group.